So we got to talk about what Bitcoin's doing right now. We got all the way up to 117K, even broke past 118K, almost got to 119K. So this is very big. I mentioned this in my previous video that this was about to happen. And that was around the time we were at about 111,000. We were just breaking 111,000 around this area right here. And as you can see, we kept going with that trend. And I also did mention 119K is going to be pretty big resistance for us because that is where our Fibonacci retracement ends. So that is a pretty big deal. And actually, if you look down here at the charts, you can also see the RSI is looking like it's trying to cross back upwards. So the RSI was very much overbought, and you can see it here, but it does look like it's actually going to end up curving upwards here. You can see this little red line down here. It looks like it's about to start curving up. And if it does, and it can, become overbought for a little bit longer, then we can see a larger push pushing us to about 119K up to 120 plus. So that's what we're looking at right now. It's a possibility, but it's not definite right now because you can also see on the MACD here, the buying has pretty much stopped. Now you're starting to see the selling coming in, and you can start to see that we are overbought here on the MACD as well. We're crossing downwards here, but it could easily reverse back upwards, just like how it looks like it's doing here on the RSI. So there's a possibility that we might have some more continuation going on. We might have some more price discovery to go. But if we do end up getting rejected, that's going to be a pretty big sell off. So we got to see. And also, even though it's overbought, it doesn't necessarily have to crash. It could literally end up pulling back like just a little bit halfway and then making its way back up, almost like it's how it's doing now from 118 to 117K. It has the possibility to go a little bit lower. But look, if we do end up breaking this 116K area, then we're more than likely going to go back down to about 111K because that's the next support for us. There was literally no resistance or support between 111K all the way up to 118K. We had no resistance that whole way. So if we are to break this level here, you're going to see a sharp drop downwards to 111K. And then you'll also see the RSI going down a lot as well as the MACD. Now, this is on the 4-hour chart here. So this is just one time frame that we're looking at. If we are to look at the daily chart, I would argue that we have more push to go. Like we're not overbought yet here on the daily chart. This is what being overbought on the daily chart looks like. But we are not overbought on the daily chart. We're just about getting there, but we're not necessarily there yet. You can still kind of see on the RSI that this line is really trying to continue to rise up a little bit more. So sooner or later, we'll get to that overbought point. But I think we have more push to go. There's more continuation, more price discovery. I think we have more of a push to go here. So you can also see on the MACD, we are still bullish, and you can see that it still looks like it wants to print out some more green candlesticks for that MACD. So I think that for the daily chart is still looking bullish. Just had this little minor pullback. The 4-hour chart is looking like we could have a little bit of a pullback like we're doing now, followed by another increase in price. So I think we should have some more to go. And then if you look over here at like the 15-minute chart, it's all the selling looks like it's almost done. And like we're about to switch back to the buying. And you can see with the RSI as well. So there is a possibility that we are going to continue to run up here with Bitcoin. So that is always a good thing. Now, moving on from that, like we do have some good volume here, volume at $33 billion. So yeah, the volume on Bitcoin is doing pretty good. We're kind of slowing down for the whole overall market, right? Everything's like moving sideways at this point because we were moving up for literally the last week, and now we're like in sideways movement, trying to see whether or not we're gonna keep rising from here. I do think we still have some more ways to go. So it's all about patience at this point. But yeah, CoinDesk expects for Bitcoin to top 200K by the end of the year. Now, what would that look like with Bitcoin? Well, I'll tell you right now, if we break this Fibonacci right here, that could be possible, right? Because we're at 119K with this Fibonacci. And then the next Fibonacci resistance is coming all the way up here at 193K. And typically, once stuff like that happens, we end up breaking past it a little bit and dropping. So if we break past this 120K, we could have a huge price discovery point where we get all the way up to 200K by the end of the year. That is a possibility, but I still like to lean more towards 130K to 150K at the most. Everyone might not agree with me, but that's just what I think. I think 130 to 150K. I don't really see 200K by the end of the year, but that is a possibility. It's a possibility. But yeah, everyone has their own opinion on that. But yeah. Now, during the interview, CNBC and Yahoo Finance, Bitwise asset manager CIO said his firm expects the Bitcoin price to reach over $200,000. And a lot of these hedge funds, they're the reason why like Bitcoin is pumping right now. All the institutional investors. So this is another article by Yahoo Finance. So it says over here, Bitwise asset manager, chief investment officer Matt Hugan explains what is driving the price and how institutional investors are playing a role in the climb. Yeah, and these hedge funds are putting Bitcoin into their funds, which is why there's so much money flowing into Bitcoin because the same money that's pretty much flowing inside the stock market, pushing all these valuations of these stocks past billions and even like just billions upon billions of dollars like that. They're the reason this is happening. Like trillions of dollars is inside of the US stock market. And now that type of money is going into Bitcoin. So that is exactly why we are going up. And it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger from here. Because if you actually look at it, look, million, billion, trillion, 2.3 trillion already inside of Bitcoin. And the whole overall market has 3.7 trillion in it. And inside the stock market, trillions of dollars is floating inside of these top hedge funds, these institutional investment funds. And you can also see for the ETFs as well, like just a lot of money is flowing in the stock market. That money is now flowing into Bitcoin. So we're probably going to end up seeing 120 to 130K soon. And then from there, we could have a pullback and then possibly seeing a pump to 150K. They're saying up to 200. But yeah, we'll see. This is pretty much all I got for you all today, though. And like I said, well, I don't know if I said this yet, but I'm going to say it now before I end this video. This is not the price point you want to be buying at. We are literally at an all-time high here in Bitcoin. Um, Obviously, it may continue to run and it may continue to run a lot, but you should have bought like way, 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 way earlier. Like you should not be looking to buy Bitcoin now. Like you should have bought earlier. There are some altcoins that are still cheap. So that's probably where you're going to want to look at. But if you're not in Bitcoin yet, you probably don't want to start buying now. Like you should have bought Bitcoin on this drop back down here when it was at 75K, 74K on the 9th of April. The 9th to 10th of April is when you probably should have bought Bitcoin. And then if you missed that opportunity and you let it run up like this, you probably should have bought it down here when it dropped to 100K, right? Because now Bitcoin is so expensive, it could keep running up to 120, 130K, 150K, even possibly 200K. But it's very hard to tell and it's very risky at this point. Like if you buy Bitcoin at 120K and then we end up seeing a big drop, bringing us down here to 75K and possibly lower to like 58K, and then you're pretty much going to be screwed for until the next bull run, which could be, I don't know how long. It could be a long time. So if you haven't gotten in now, it's probably not the best time to do it. Look at what happened last time we reached an all-time high, a new all-time high. We had a long, long sideways movement. So anyone that bought at 74K back in March of last year, because they were like, "Oh, we're at new all-time highs. We're gonna keep running." That's not what happened. The previous all-time highs were in 2021. Anyone who did that and bought at those all-time highs in 2021 did not make their money back until and that was November of 2021. They didn't get their money back until March of 2024. So 3 years later, they had to wait to get their money back. And then anyone that bought here 3 years later at March 2024 and then, waited, like they thought that it was going to keep going because it was creating new all-time highs. They bought March 2024. Well, they had to wait all the way till about November of 2024. So that's March. So you got January, February, and then you got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So those people had to wait 9 months just for it to get back to that price because they bought at the previous all-time highs. And then it kept going. So if they're long-term holders, I mean, it doesn't matter. If you're a long-term holder and you're looking like to hold for 5+ years, I guess you could go in now, but you should have got in earlier. You should have got in earlier. Because let's say the same thing happens here and we just start trading in this range from like 120K to like 100K, then that's going to be really bad for you. But I don't think that's going to happen. I actually do think that we're going to keep running up. So it's all based on your calculated risk. Me personally, I do think it'll keep running up. But me personally, I will not be buying at these heights, even though I do believe it's going to keep running up. I'm not buying at these heights. It's too high right now. But anyways, this is all I got for y'all today. Hit the like button and subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys want me to go over next. And as always, I'll be back with another video.